From the brutal attack on Tig's daughter by Pope to Opie's tragic sacrifice for Jax in Season 5, these are Sons of Anarchy's most heartbreaking scenes. Throughout 7 seasons, this motorcycle club has delivered some of the most heart-wrenching moments on television, and nothing hurts more than the brutal attack on Tig's daughter. After ending Season 4 with a bold finale, showrunner Kurt Sutter had big plans for how he wanted to kick off the 5th installment. Yet no one expected what he had in mind for the first episode. And at the center of all the drama is Tig, who's fueled by violence and sets out to avenge the death of Leroy Wayne, the leader of the Niners. But in a shocking twist, he mistakes Veronica Pope, daughter of the powerful crime boss Damon Pope, for Leroy's girlfriend and accidentally runs her over with his car outside a cafe. That sets the stage for the unbearable tragedy. Damon Pope is hell-bent on making Tig pay for his mistake and hatches an insane plan. He orders his men to kidnap Tig's daughter, Dawn, who herself struggles with addiction. They also snatch Tig and take him to an abandoned warehouse, and as Pope makes his entrance, he tells Tig that he knows he's responsible for Veronica's death. But tension escalates to the next level when he reveals an oil pit, and lying unconscious in the pit is Tig's own daughter. Desperate to save his daughter, he begs Pope to let her go, but Damon has another plan in mind. And with a flick of a match, he ignites the gasoline-soaked pit, setting Dawn on fire. All the while, Tig is forced to witness his daughter burn alive. Intense, right? Well, according to show creator Kurt Sutter, this tragic turn was important to show the love Tig had for his daughter. Just like how Jax's final ride needed to be a full-circle moment for the story. In episode 13 of Season 7, Jax confesses to killing Jury and faces the consequences of his club. They vote to kill him, but they also allow him to get out on his terms. Jax shares a touching farewell with his sons Abel and Thomas. And wearing his father's helmet and jacket, he sets off on his father's bike, ready to meet his fate. Along the way, Jax revisits the site where his father's supposed accident occurred, fully aware that Clay and Gemma were the ones behind it. His next stop is the courthouse, where he takes out D.A. Patterson's escort and drives her car to Stockton Prison, where he frees all of his imprisoned club members. But when he returns to Charming, he finds himself being followed by a swarm of police cars. And as Jax reaches the highway, a familiar semi-truck driven by Milo, who'd previously given Gemma a ride, appears. And in a full-circle moment, he releases the steering wheel, colliding head-on with the truck. It was the perfect ending to his story, but that's also what makes it all the more tragic. As Charlie Hunnam, who plays Jax, said the show gave him a beautiful death. If only I could say the same thing about Piney's death in Season 4. To give you a little backstory, Piney was a founding member of Sam Crow and a trusted elder of the club. But things take a turn for the worst when he ends up on the wrong end of Clay's treachery. Piney uncovers the truth about Clay and Gemma's involvement with JT's death, as well as their shady dealings with the CIA and the cartel. So when he tries to confront Clay and threatens to expose him, the MC president panics and storms into Piney's. In a heartbreaking confrontation, Clay accuses Piney of betraying him, and despite Piney's attempts to reason with him, Clay shoots him straight in the chest, proving once again that he'll always put himself first. And to make matters worse, he acts like Piney's death was because of a cartel hit by planting a fake suicide note and the Sons of Anarchy patch on his body. But nobody is more devastated by the loss than Piney's son Opie, who discovers his father's body, and from there on out, it's absolute madness. Because Opie becomes convinced that Clay was responsible for his father's murder. Not to mention, what a massive blow to this entire club. Piney's death leaves a hole in Sam Crow. After all, he held them together, and his close bond with Jax makes the whole situation much more depressing. But the show writers have never been afraid to make fans cry. I mean, who can forget Gemma's terrible assault in Season 2? Gemma has always been a fierce character in the club, but when she finds herself kidnapped by a group of white supremacists led by Ethan Zobel, cracks start to appear in her tough exterior. These men want to drive the club out of Charming, so they drag Gemma to a cold, dark warehouse where she is brutally tortured. All the while, they taunt her and force her to deliver a message to Clay, telling him to stop dealing with minorities or they'll strike again. The incident leaves Gemma shattered, and she refuses to tell the truth about her torture to Clay or Jax. Instead, she confides in Tara and Wayne Unser as they help her navigate the aftermath. And to hide the scars left by her attackers, Gemma bravely gets a tattoo on her chest. This entire episode helps fans understand why she is the way that she is, but it also ruins her relationship with Clay, who can tell that something's not right. And then the news about her attack finally breaks out. It's an immediate war between Sam Crow and Lone, the supremacist group responsible for the attack. And as the conflict escalates, there are major casualties and injuries on both sides. In the end, the war eventually reaches its climax, when Jax takes the life of Zobel's right-hand man, AJ Weston. And Clay delivers his own brand of justice by killing Zobel's daughter, Polly. And while Zobel manages to escape, he's ultimately caught by the FBI. But I can definitely say no fan will be forgetting that horrible assault anytime soon. Just like they won't let go of Donna's awful yet important death. In episode 12 of the first season, Opie's wife Donna finds herself trapped in a devastating tragedy. Clay wrongly suspects Opie of betraying the club to the ATF, so he orders Tig to take him out, but in a mind-blowing plot twist, Donna switches places with her husband. So when Tig fires the shot, it's Donna he hits in the back of the head. In an instant, her life is tragically cut short. But this scene is also extremely important for Opie's character development, since he blames himself for putting Donna in harm's way, and is hell-bent on getting revenge. It's only Lila who's able to help him get through the pain, which causes him to ignore his own children for a while. But he isn't the only one that's suffering because of this accident. Being a close friend of Jax and Tara, Donna's loss sends shockwaves through the club itself. But her tragic passing also helps them realize that Clay isn't really on their side, since it exposes the truth about his involvement in both Donna and John Teller's murders. So you can see why fans of the show have a love and hate relationship with the writer over this. But even Sprague Graydon, who is the talented actress behind Donna, admits that the show gave her a character a beautiful death, all while saving Opie's life in the process. But you know what they say, good things don't last forever, and Opie's tragic sacrifice for Jax in Season 5 brings an end to Ryan Hurst's amazing acting on the show. But I'll be honest, he went out in the most Opie way possible. In Episode 3, Jax, Opie, Tig, and Chibs find themselves in a sticky situation. Since a shootout with the Niners lands them behind bars, but things take a devastating turn when they cross paths with Damon Pope, and Pope, being the crafty villain he is, offers Jax a deal. He promises to spare the club and lend a hand with their legal troubles only if he sacrifices one member of his club. Jax refuses to pick someone though, and instead offers himself up. But Opie quickly stands in and tells Jax that he'll handle it before getting into a nasty fight with the prison guards. And while Opie fought bravely, in the end, he gets overwhelmed, beaten, and left for dead. And all Jax, Tig, and Chibs can do is watch their friend bleed out through a window. When the episode finally aired, fans couldn't control their emotions. And considering Opie died saving his friends, it's no surprise that his death is one of the saddest moments in the entire series. And one of the most heartbreaking deaths in TV history. So there you have it, from Opie's tragic sacrifice for Jax in Season 5 to the brutal attack on Tig's daughter by Pope, these were Sons of Anarchy's most heartbreaking scenes.